two-vehicle crash with garbage truck leaves one person dead. A reckless driver crashes into four vehicles. And your daily weather forecast coming up with highs, lows, and everything you need to know for the days ahead.
You're watching St. George News at 5, brought to you by our studio sponsor, We Win Injury Law.
Good afternoon, I'm Monica McLaughlin. One person died following a collision between a Mini Cooper and a garbage truck this morning at a Washington City intersection. Here's a closer look for more details on this report.
A driver was killed in a two-vehicle crash involving a trash truck and a passenger car on Washington Fields Road Tuesday morning. Washington City Police Chief Jason Williams told St. George News the driver of the Mini Cooper was transported to St. George Regional by ambulance, where he succumbed to his injuries shortly after arrival.
Got information that the driver of the passenger car did die due to the injuries sustained in this crash.
According to the preliminary information gleaned so far, it appears that the Mini Cooper was headed west on Merrill Road, continued straight across the intersection, where it was struck by a trash truck that was heading south on Washington Fields Road. The impact crushed the driver's side of the Mini Cooper, which fatally injured the driver. The accident reconstruction team was called out to conduct a crash investigation. No further details were available at the time of this report, and the identity of the driver has not been released at this time.
A suspected drunk driver is in custody after crashing into four parked vehicles in downtown St. George on Sunday afternoon. Here's Nick Fiala with the details on this incident.
Police said that an 18-year-old woman was driving an SUV while intoxicated Sunday afternoon and crashed into four other vehicles along Bluff and Main Streets in St. George. The driver survived the crash despite multiple injuries, and no one else was harmed. St. George Police Public Information Officer Tiffany Mitchell said the driver hit a Mustang in the Maverick parking lot on South Bluff Street and then fled north on Main Street. The driver then struck a white Toyota truck before pushing a white Hyundai Santa Fe onto the sidewalk next to a gray Dodge Caravan. The driver's vehicle then tipped over onto its right side, finally coming to a rest as neighbors came out of their homes to see what had happened. Multiple witnesses at the scene said that the driver lost consciousness shortly after the crash and was taken away in an ambulance. Police said she later woke up and that her injuries were not life-threatening. The driver's charges include driving under the influence, leaving the scene of an accident, driving on a denied or suspended driver's license, and reckless driving. Elaine Jennings is the owner of the white Hyundai destroyed in the crash. Jennings said that she has another vehicle to use in the future. For now, she and the rest of the neighborhood will just be happy to know that the woman who hit her car survived.
Thanks, Nick. Now we'll take a look at your daily weather forecast brought to you by Casablanca Resort and Casino. Starting with St. George, currently we are sitting at 56 degrees under cloudy skies. Tonight, expect a low of 38, and tomorrow, temperatures will range from a cool high of 61 to 37 for the low. Over to Mesquite, Nevada. It's sitting around 64 degrees right now. Tonight's low will drop to 43, and tomorrow we'll see a high of 66 and another low of 43. And up north in Cedar City, we're seeing a crisp 37 degrees currently. Tonight's low will settle around 25, with tomorrow bringing highs of 46 and a brisk low of 29 overnight. Now we'll head over to Tyler Todd for your weekly injury law review.
Hi, I'm Tyler with We Win Injury Law. Getting hurt at work is stressful enough without the confusion of navigating different legal avenues. When you're injured on the job, you might think your only option is a workers' compensation claim, but that's not always true. If a third party like a subcontractor or equipment manufacturer contributed to your injury, you may have a separate personal injury case. Workers' compensation covers your medical bills and lost wages, but it typically won't compensate for pain and suffering. A personal injury claim, on the other hand, can cover those additional damages. Understanding the distinction between the two and when to pursue both can make a big difference in your financial recovery.
Thanks, Tyler. Cedar Middle School's music program recently received a generous gift, a $6,000 baritone saxophone donated in memory of a longtime Utah music educator. Here's Jeff Richards for more about the special story behind the donation.
Cedar Middle School's music program recently received a surprise donation of a baritone saxophone that was part of the collection of longtime music educator John Bernard Talcott, who died last year. Steve Schertz, former teacher and band director at Cedar High, made the announcement during a recent concert held in the Cedar Middle School gymnasium.
Valuing over $6,000 because it's in almost mint condition because that's the way John valued it. Valued it over $6,000 to Cedar Middle School.
Thanks, Jeff. Condor 1K, beloved by Zion National Park staff and visitors for his curiosity and charm, tragically died earlier this year due to lead poisoning, a preventable cause of death for California condors. We'll go to Alicia Lundgren for more about this young condor's life and ongoing conservation efforts.
Condor 1K, considered a symbol of hope for the endangered species, died in March, a difficult blow for the staff and volunteers who worked with him. Sierra Martin, a wildlife technician at Zion, described the impact.
His death came later than a lot of other deaths before him because he made it through all of the avian influenza outbreak where we lost a really big chunk of our population. We lost over 20 birds during that in the span of just a few weeks. His mom was one of the ones who died during that time, and that was a really hard hit because not only is 1K just a big symbol for the progression of the recovery of the condors, he's the 1,000th bird to be born since the recovery effort started. When we started with 22, we never imagined that the 1,000th bird would be here, and he was our baby in Zion. We got to claim him.
1K, who can be seen here in footage courtesy of the Peregrine Fund and Zion National Park, has been described as a curious, goofy bird who often sought out areas where people were. And Condor volunteer Pete Gorzelski said he had an impact on those who caught a glimpse of him.
I had 1K over here. There was an elderly woman, and I was trying to coach her behind the monocular because a lot of people have difficulty looking through a scope like that. And I told her to keep her head still, just move her eyeball around, and she was finally able to see 1K. And when she did, she let out this, oh my gosh, and she was just so grateful and happy. And all of a sudden she was silent, and I wanted to make sure she was okay, and she turns around and she's just streaming with tears of joy. And she told me afterwards, she says, I've seen a condor when I was a little child, and I never thought I'd see a wild condor in the wild again. So that was just truly spectacular to witness that.
Thank you for watching St. George News at 5. To learn more about our studio sponsor, We Win Injury Law, go to wewininjurylaw.com. I'm Monica McLaughlin with St. George News, your #1 source for local news.
This has been St. George News at 5, brought to you by We Win Injury Law.